Ms. Lawson is joining virtual. Cannot, because it's not a virtual meeting. She's here for information purposes only. Mr. Myers and Mr. Payne. We do not have a quorum. We only have 4 members present. All right, at this time, I would like to appoint all of our present members as the executive committee. We have a motion to approve the executive committee. Oh, so moved. A second. Okay. Thanks, Ms. Gaines. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay, we do have a couple of individuals who are on our executive committee at this point in time who do need to leave early. So I would like to make a motion or to take the action item for the program updates. We have a motion to make an agenda. I move to take the action item. Program update. So let's leave here the first time making a motion. A second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. We can move into introductions and announcements.
Yes, we do. All right. Ebony, are you introducing? Okay.
Hello, I am going to stand here. And my voice is projecting really well today. But this is Chalacia, and Chalacia joins our team as one of our newest intake and assistance officers. And basically, she will be joining our other team members and kind of serving as the front lines of communication for the agency. She received her Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from the University of Phoenix, and prior to coming to LOSFA, she worked at Orion Consulting as a case manager for the disaster recovery program. So we're really excited to have her. Alice,
Okay.
Good morning, I'm Alice Brown, IT Director, and we had to say goodbye to Cynthia Marcellus, who was with the state for over 41 years and with LOSFA for 32 years. She came from Department of Labor, so back in the day. But anyway, she retired on Friday was her last day. She's just going to get some rest and enjoy her next chapter of new beginnings.
And that's it. Thank you. And now we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes. You should have received the minutes in your email, and we need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. April, I got first. Second, Nicole.
The minutes from the last.
Thank you, Ms. Beagle. Nicole seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Andrew, do we have any public comment?
There's no comments.
Thank you. Now we'll move into program updates. All businesses. Oh. Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's up.
All right, before program updates. We got to address some old business. So the old business, the last time we talked, we did some discussion around honorables to amend the scholarship and grant administration due to COVID. So we need to approve this that the LOSFA advisory board consider publication of final rule to amend the scholarship and grant administrative rules to implement COVID-19 as an objective circumstance for which students may receive an exception to the requirements to enroll full-time, to remain enrolled in school, and to earn the required hours each academic year.
I make a motion to approve.
Mary makes the motion. We need a second.
Second.
We'll just turn around. Robin,
Yeah.
please. Then we got a second for Miss Maple. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. New business, that the advisory board consider the adoption of meeting dates for the period July through December 2024. So these are the dates before. And a motion to approve those meeting dates.
I move to approve the meeting dates for
Ms.
July.
Nichol has made the motion. Can we have a second? Ms. Nicole seconds. Any discussion?
And just, go ahead, but I did talk to Robin, and so we can determine if we will have any virtual meeting dates. Like, we'll discuss it and say which of these meeting dates will be virtual at the next meeting.
Okay, so at the next meeting, we will discuss which of the days we would like to have virtual. As a reminder, we can do virtual and or hybrid meetings, but I believe the chair does have to be present.
That is correct.
And we have to post, yes, a notice that the meeting will be virtual or hybrid. So we'll discuss that next meeting. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next are the TOPS exceptions, so that the LOSFA advisory board consider the attached request for exception to the top statutory provision that requires a student to begin a home study program no later than the conclusion of the 10th grade. So your exceptions are listed in
So I make the motion to approve.
Ms. Mary Ann makes the motion. We need a second. Ms. Nichol seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The last, that the LOSFA advisory board consider the attached request for exception to the TOPS regulatory provisions that require students to remain continuously enrolled and to earn the annual credit hours required during the academic year. Again, those were previously sent out on this FONDA. We have a motion to approve.
I would like to say something about this one. We are making an extra request on this one, other than an approval. Number 7 on the list. We have determined from the post-secondary institution that there are other students in this circumstance. And what we would like to do is request that you request the Board of Regents allow us to approve those as they come in. The post-secondary institution is compiling us a list of the students that were in the same situation. What happened here was that the Doctor of Physical Therapy program was supposed to start in 23. These students, for the most part, are 20 graduates, and they would have been within that 1 year time frame to enroll in graduate school and not lose their TOPS. Program did not gain its candidacy status in time, so the students weren't able to start. And they all need exceptions. So we would like that you request the Board of Regents just allow us to approve those as they come in and are verified by the school, so they don't have to wait that long period of time.
And take them.
Yeah.
Without the credit.
So how do we do that?
What we need is a motion to amend the recommendation to state that the normal recommendation recommend the Board of Regents act upon the attached requests and authorize the staff of LOSFA to act upon circumstances that are verified by the post-secondary institution as indicated by item 7.
Student 7.
Student 7.
Student 7.
What we
need to
will do,
do this current motion to add this.
yes, and what we will do is I have to discuss that with the Board of Regents, what that item was out at the meeting, so that they know in advance what their approving, because normally they don't get all of the student information. They just recommend a number. So what we would do is explain to them what they would be approving in advance. And we will get verification from the post-secondary institution of these students. We will look at our records and make sure that they fit within the same parameters as well. If they don't fit within these parameters, obviously we could bring them back to you so that you could look at them and say, okay, that's close enough.
Can't remember, do we have to? Can't remember the procedure, we have to have a special motion to amend this motion?
Yes. Or you can amend, you can approve the motion as amended. Yes.
Chair, so.
Write them down so I can. Okay, but you're gonna approve, you're gonna.
Okay.
We're gonna, so, okay, so. Improvements of it. I would like to make a motion to amend recommendation number 4. To state that the LOSFA advisory board consider the attached request section to the TOPS regulatory provisions that require students to remain continuously enrolled and to earn annual credit hours required during the academic year, and to present to the Board of Regents and authorize LOSFA staff to act upon verified circumstances by a post-secondary institution for students who are in similar situations as student number 7. Yes.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Very well done.
I have a motion to approve that.
You made the
I
motion.
made the motion. Okay, so that.
I would like to offer a second.
All right, Mary, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
On behalf of the students in this situation, I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All right, at this time, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Actually, we have an effective program update and then we can adjourn.
Never mind. We're still going, y'all. Never mind. Now we're gonna do public program update.
That's serious, I read it too.
Executive session or something. Yeah, here.
You can go to the next slide. Good morning. All right, here we are. This is for the month of, the ending balance for the month of March. Notice we have 83,000, over 83,000 accounts collectively for the 3 programs, as well as $1.5 billion in assets. March is very busy for us. We were busy posting the interest on the Louisiana Principal Protection, as well as the earning enhancements for 2023. Those were posted and the start statements were mailed out, and also available online for those that wish to get statement. Also, I wanted to let you all know for the Secure Act 2.0 that went into effect January of this year, there was a provision for Roth 529 funds to be moved to Roth IRAs. For the first quarter, we did 51 of those transfers for a total of $234,680. So we were excited to be able to help those students out that had completed their education but did have a Roth IRA that they wish to transfer those funds over to. We also got some exciting news this week that Saving for College recently ranked the 15 lowest cost 529 plans throughout the country, and Louisiana ranked number 1.
That's what I have a couple of questions, one questions. I have friends who just had 2 babies, And I saw the LOSFA post this morning, so I copied and pasted it and gave it to them. And I was like, hey, if you haven't seen, can you set this up? But were there laws changed to allow for people to use the funds outside of educational purposes? Like there were some restrictions or?
Well, tell outside of education purpose, tell me
What she said was, she said there were some laws that changed.
she may be speaking about a Roth,
Maybe that's it, I'm not sure.
or a,
Maybe it's able.
yeah, I think it could be able if the child is perhaps disabled or diagnosed later after the account is open, it's going to be moved to enable.
Okay, but for our standard start saving program. For education.
Right, for the start account, it's for higher education, tuition fees, room and board, books and supplies and a computer. And they're working on transportation. Transportation may be passed, so we're waiting for that. K-12, if they decide to attend a school with and that tuition is charged for, K-12 program may be. Okay, and then they can also do that, and that is simply tuition. That's not uniform treatment. It's only a tuition.
They'll need their.
What about a start account? A student who is disabled can use the start funds for education related accommodations for their disability. So a lot of parents also have
But the Asian account is going to be more flexible for disabled students.
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you.
We will go ahead and get started. And so since July 1st, we've been rocking and rolling over 500 events total, that includes face-to-face and virtual. Of course, we had a ton of back to completion events over the past couple months. And then those are also our virtual office hours that are listed. As of this week, we actually are full. Both our virtual FAFSA marathon hours are booked for this week. It's FAFSA week of action. And so we extended our hours starting at 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. This week. Those are totally booked. Colleague back there who manages our Go FAFSA virtual office hours, which are separate, are also booked this week and next week. So overwhelming response to those virtual office hours. With everybody trying to get those FAFSAs. And for professional development, of course, as we have been over the past few months, lots of professional development in FAFSA, whether it's completion strategies to support families. Shane and I will be in a webinar about the FAFSA, again, for FAFSA week of action with benefits data trust along with Pennsylvania and on tomorrow. So lots of FAFSA professional development as we continue to assist our students and parents. Next slide. And then also a lot of professional development regarding prison education programs and things of the like. Those of you may remember that we have the In-Campus Indian grant, where we are assisting re-entry and incarcerated students. So making sure that we're educated on those things as well. And Shalacia, who I just introduced, she also, she hit the ground running out. She has already done the 21 courses needed to earn her 2024. If anyone has ever done these courses, there are a lot of courses, some of them are very long, but just a wealth of knowledge. So very excited that she was able to get those completed in such a short time frame. For our continuing FAFSA efforts, of course, we have been putting things on social media, we've been texting our students, and Benefits Data Trust, who basically hosts WIDE, which is the virtual FAFSA advisor. In February, originally when they rolled WIDE out, it was geared towards high school graduates. Last month, or in February, they basically revamped the outreach for efforts for WIDE so that it is now also targeting students that were new. And so we, of course, reached out to our students, our text messaging platform, Signify, did a texting campaign with those students. And so you'll actually see that the bottom chart in February, you see that the graduated renewing students actually outpaced the high school students that month as a result of us texting those students to make sure that they were not left out. And then at the top, you see March, we went back to those high school students outpacing renewing students. And I think right now we are up to a total opted in March 288 students.
Oh, wow.
Next. More FAFSA efforts. Kylie and I continue to represent Louisiana with NCAN at the state policy leaders meeting. I believe at the time of this meeting is when they had announced that there was now a workaround or a fix for parents with no social security number. So another interesting meeting. We also, Rhonda and one of our outreach coordinators, Haley, went to Denham Springs High School for a FAFSA completion event. What was significant about this particular event is that we've been to Denham Springs High School in the past before, but this time there were 55 students that they were able to help get their FAFSAs submitted and get them in. So a significant jump from what we've seen in the past. And then also members of CAS and also student engagement participated in the district-wide FAFSA night that was hosted by EPR Parish. We've done this before in the past. About this particular event, there were 11 high schools, including Capital High Schools. So I'm not sure if it kind of follows what's been going on, but Capital has returned to EPR, the EPR umbrella. I think they were under state control for like 15 years. So it was just really good that we were able to get individuals out to that school as well. I think that may have been with the EPR,
Yes.
Capital.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Next slide. And Kylie and I believe at the beginning of March, were invited to the Louisiana Association of Student Assistance Programs. They had their conference in Shreveport, and we were invited to present on the FAFSA. So we actually used the FAFSA prototype to kind of do a walkthrough to show them what it looks like. We talked about some of the issues that they were having at the time with the contributors, SSN and other common issues and what workarounds they could use to get students through the application. April and Danielle have been having meetings with the Department of Public Safety and Corrections. Again, going back to the NCAN Ascendium grant, where we have been tasked with kind of creating a framework for serving justice impacted individuals. And so as part of that work, we've been doing a lot of meeting with the Department of Public Safety and Corrections. They invited us to their mid-year education training, where we were able to talk about LOSFA and the services that can be provided by our agency. And they've also invited us to several graduations. So just looking forward to kind of getting this off the ground. And again, with LOSFA 2.0, we look at serving all students, including our justice involved students. And the fly tour, which really excited, Kayla's going to talk about in a bit. But fly tour, they had their virtual tour this year, and they had over 500 students that attended virtually, but then they also were in New Orleans, invited by Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, where they did an in-person fly tour event. So really excited to looking forward to what Kate was going to share with you guys. And for in-house, that is our phone system. So I have been here long enough to go through a couple phone systems. So we have had a migration, we had an upgrade for Touchpoint. And so just anytime you're working with technology, it comes with its own set of challenges. So really excited that they've kind of refreshed the way that Touchpoint looks. It's less glitchy. And so our agents love it because it's made life so much simpler for us. So thank you to IT and to Brandon for helping us get everybody set up and transferred over once the install is ready.
So for Tom's Tech, kind of started our campaign. We are reaching out to Tom's Tech eligible students who have graduated. That's over 6,000 students. They are receiving information based on the enrollment that they're having, their LOSFA IDs to set up their student hub accounts. They can select prompts based on what their additional needs are. So their additional information is pertaining to their needs. They're able to receive that direct message. Next slide. For signal buying, this goes out to top recipients, includes GPA reminders for each of the award loads, how to set the student hub in order to check their renewal status, and reminders about 24 credit hours by the end of the academic year and the availability of funding for summer. We've also updated all the information graphics that are sent out as well, not only to better reflect on the branding, but just to make the information easier to understand as well. Next slide. So for partnership updates, the next couple slides are going to touch on some efforts that we have working with serving our justice impacted students. So this partnership with the Louisiana Department of Corrections is looking at how we can assist justice impacted students with college access and rapid services. So those who are present from the DOC dealt with reentry programs, workforce coordinators, and education directors. And we talked about how LOSFA could participate in job fairs, graduation ceremonies, and the justice impact family resource webinars as well. Because we're looking to make sure that we realize we offer comprehensive advising services and the connection to those additional rapid support services that we need as well. Yes, ma'am.
Briefly refresh my memory, why something happened that we are now working a lot more with justice impacted people. What was there was a big change there, wasn't it?
Yes, one is that those individuals now held elected, and then also we received, the one, I believe was it 10 agencies, I believe, that were chosen to be a part of the fellowship, in CAN and Ascendium, where the work is to like establish a framework for how to serve justice impacted individuals, because right now there kind of really isn't one. So
Yes.
It's Louisiana and several other states that meet every month to kind of talk about strategies and how we're going about trying to develop that framework for those individuals.
And one of the strengths of Louisiana's application is there's no stipulation that prevents a person that's incarcerated to get help to get the go grant. So if you were incarcerated, then you could get Pell and you could also receive go. Once you are released, if you were currently, as current law stands, if you were not a violent offender, you could get MJ Boston. And so we now have that kind of, suite of financial aid that we, need folks in that population and folks who work with that population to know that it's available.
Commissioner Reed is also on about, yes, this is involving, making sure that we're working with that population as well for the past. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a question. This might be a Department of Corrections question, but what institutions do you serve and are you targeting? And we have so many private prisons throughout Louisiana, and I know that some don't offer any type of access. So how are you selecting? Is it just for the state prison or how are you?
Right now, we are in talks with Department of Corrections. They do have a number of re-entry programs, but none of it, it's all kind of right now, kind of separate. So what we're working on now is kind of targeting them as they come into the re-entry programs, because for those institutions that have those prison education programs, they kind of are handling, the admissions part and like the FAFSA completions and things of that nature. So where they're asking us to step in is kind of the re-entry, where they're getting ready to re-enter. And it seems like, again, there are a number of organizations that deal with re-entry, but there's no like concerted framework where it's like, okay, you go, contact the reentry agency, and then they direct you to all these. It's just not all over the place. So we are currently working with reentry.
So it's reentry, you're not in the institution.
Not at this point. Those discussions are still ongoing to see like kind of what the need is, but I know for one, talked about FAFSA completion. They talked about one of the needs that they had really was for that reentry. And also they said that they get a lot of communication from like family members, which goes back to the slide where Shane was talking about the webinar to connect with family members, because we get a lot of questions from family members that are trying to assist their reentry individuals who kind of don't know where to start. So that's where we are right now, kind of in the early phases, but seeking to, they have like invited us to some graduation and job fairs, things of that nature. So slowly integrating ourselves in there in hopes that we will have that full like comprehensive picture.
So Ebony, April, Danielle, and Kayla were in attendance at the Open Farm Corrections meeting. This one, April and Danielle attended this fellowship meeting that it's every month. This was to discuss the landscape map. And so that is going to be starting for collecting contact information for potential partners for justice involvement. So trying to create that and work in the database so we can provide the services to those students. Next, second. And again, Danielle and April attended a meeting in Southeast Louisiana Legal Services, talking about programs and services that benefit justice impacted students. Financial aid assistance and legal services were main focuses of what were discussed at that meeting. Next. And then April, Kayla, and I had a great meeting at the Bankers Association, where we talked about the resources that they have available that we can use for our own financial literacy programs. We can integrate that into the financial literacy program, capitalize them, apply toward as part of them, the training that they can provide to LOSFA team members, resources that we have available, so we're not having to reinvent the wheel. So we can have a place for all of our staff to go and to share those resources that are sort of proven, that are true, that we know work, that are results-based, educational-based, in order to strengthen what it is we're offering for our financial literacy programs. And then we're also looking for ways that we can assist them in promoting banking-related careers and education pathways as well. So for social media, our impressions are up. Only get a count of impressions from paid Facebook advertising. So impressions is the number of times content is displayed on a device, phone, computer, or something like that. We don't get a count from Facebook, which is what most of our followers are, unless it's a paid ad. We did do a paid ad for Wyatt. And so we did see our users for Wyatt actually increase statewide. So there are more individuals who learn about Wyatt across the state than if have not done the paid ad. So impressions are up. Our reach, that would be for individuals who saw our content, that is almost 150,000, which is great. In total engagement, that is likes, shares, comments, that is over 9,000. Next. Our most popular post that we have across our platforms, the promotion of Go Teach, that was during I Love to Teach Week. Our top eligibility requirement reminders, and then our information about CCAM, which is our college commitment in sort of the spring component of LPM. Next. And then for our followers, Facebook, of course, ran spring as far as how many individuals interact with on there. That's over 52,000. Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, is just under 2,000 followers in Instagram, just over 2,000 followers. Next. So for our website traffic, organic traffic, that is, they come across our website via a search engine. So they're looking for information about financial aid, and they come to our website. That is where most of the traffic comes from. Direct, that means they have directly typed in Ross's website in order to get us. Our top page traffic continues to be tops, followed by our scholarships, MJ Foster, as well as Student Hub. So top referrals, they continue to come most from our referrals. It's going to be from Facebook, niche.com, Google Classroom, and one, Northshore Technical Community College. They are fourth top message. So total page views from January 22nd to the 1st of April is 111,000 total sessions over 50 and total users. So sessions, that is, so page views, that's how many times individual pages have been viewed. The sessions, that includes a visit from the user. They may have viewed 5 pages, so that breaks down into what that session was. And then 35,000 individual people went and visited the website during the year. So that's where we are.
Did I hear you correctly? I think I did. They can tell whether I actually went directly or I typed it in.
Yes, so they can
It's
tell
a
whether.
little boggling to me.
Well, they can track whether or not you reached our site from another website,
Okay.
whether you reached it through a social media platform,
Okay.
whether you did a Google search for information on financial aid, that way, or if you directly sought out LOSFA. So that lets us know, there's a decent chunk that know about us and the services that we provide, and they go directly to us. And then there's a big chunk that's out there that is looking for this information and they haven't come to us yet. So that kind of lets us know where we are. If we see direct increasing, that's an indicator to us that we're people specifically about what we do.
Well, you use the pronoun they as if they know this. Who is they again? Who tells you that I do this?
That would be the software that Andrew uses, who generates this report and sends it to me to share with y'all. So I can get more details.
I did this. No, I don't. But I think that's really interesting. What fascinates me is that you can tell how they're getting to LOSFA, and that really should be helpful. Useful information to you of how you're getting it, because if you just got these as raw numbers, you would be change some.
No, it is very.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And since we have so many who are coming to us organically, if we can increase our search engine optimization, that would mean that even more people would be able to find us when they're looking for this type of information.
I have a question on your top referrals. How are you filling that information? Like, it's a little short.
It shows up, yeah. So it would have shown up that we were, so that's probably under the referral part of the traffic, that they reached us through their website. So I can see if I get some more specifics on maybe what particular page on the website it came from. But for some reason, there could have been a presentation or a program or something, a webinar that they hosted, and they shared resources. And we would see that's which resources that reached us out. And then Google Classroom, that is high schools that use that platform. Usually talking about tops, and also they'll reach our website and links there.
Have an idea of where the busy and FAFSA completion?
We do, and I can't remember what that number is. I thought we were at 14. Thought, but let's not check. We have started, we started pulling information. IT is going to pull our information for our FAFSA area reports, but from looking at the information we got, it's of course lower than it had been in previous years, which is what we expected. So let's see what we got.
Good morning. Right. As he moves into the ninth month of his new
configuration, with all of these being focused on comprehensive advising, providing the wraparound support services to our students. And my segment is what we're going to again highlight those 3 levels of engagement. In one-on-one that our CAOs provide, the advising, the small group engagement opportunities through our network groups, and then the larger group setting, but outreach or in webinar format here. What we have become accustomed to do is share with you what our Salesforce case management system has been able to generate for us, the activities of the CAOs. Again, these numbers are through March. So you're seeing at the time of the submission for this meeting at 289 roughly cases that have been referred to our CAO. And now I think it's only like 356 today. So we're continuing to see steady interest and student needing advising services that they may not be receiving, whether they're in high school or even in the post-secondary realm, for those students who are continuing to matriculate through. I just want to highlight on the cases by issue. Again, we're seeing the academic advising, I think that much is what we're seeing, our core reason that we are seeing students. But then also last month, we highlighted the need and impetus on financial aid and financial aid options, the FAFSA completion now that FAFSA season is over. They see in the category for reason that those 3 areas are leading that's based on the report. If you go to the slide, I wanted to share and add this slide just to see how the referrals are occurring by sections, by areas. Again, our database, our case management system primarily support the work of the comprehensive advising officers, but our outreach coordinators also are utilizing it where we are needing to refer for those just complex issues, and then also our scholarships and grants divisions as well. So this particular reporting was very beneficial to us as we're coming into a review with Caresoft provides the Salesforce software for us. We were able to gauge just where the impetus of use it has been led, who's leading the way as far as utilizing the database there. So you're seeing our CAOs, our outreach coordinators, and then our SG section there. Next slide. You heard about the past team member that received their NCAN certification. In SC, we had an additional team member to this, so I just want to congratulate Mr. Davier. Happy on. Moving on. Now to the work of our CAOs beyond the advising. Our CAOs are also tasked with outreach and being a part of the also work that we're doing throughout the state and covering the vast array of events and activities. This is from our Northeast contingency, where we have Ms. Summer Clark, who's one of our CAOs. And so this event was at the Monroe Civic Center Career Expo, targeting 1,000 students, and she's tracked 150 direct engagements from that event, where she's able to again represent LOSFA, and in that we're finding that that's also a collective work for our students, making them aware of our comprehensive advising services. In this slide here, 2 additional CAOs, LaConda Smith and LaConda Scott, I'm sorry, Delaracia Ventures, traveled down to New Orleans to SUNO to do this top retention seminar with some students there, preparing them for their receipt of the TOPS reward and letting them know what the guidelines are there. Next slide. And then I made reference to our network groups that will continue for the month of March. We focused on the topic resume writing and interviews strategies, getting ready for our students as they seek internships or summer employment. And as we move into our 3rd year partnership with LHC Group, again, we have the privilege of having their diversity officer, Lalonda Brown, to come in and do a presentation on the resume writing topic. Again, this took her offering in doing so, but it does speak to the ongoing partnership that we have with them. We're getting ready to hopefully line up on site campus tours with some local Lafayette schools to go visit their headquarters. So, you know, as we approach the beginning of the semester, hopefully we'll pull that off to avail that. It's something that the corporation extended, and so definitely going to capitalize on that. But what really further highlight on this particular meeting, we had members, volunteer professionals from Oxford and 1881 Institute present. These were by invitation of our employer engagement coordinator. Hear a little bit of what she did this month through networking at various activities, events, connecting, and these employers wanting to see what it is that we do during the networking with students. We followed both of these employers and we're ecstatic to be a part of that process and want to come back. So as we continue to grow and develop those, and this is one avenue where we're connecting with employers. Next slide. In the realm of the holistic support services, myself and two of our CAOs who happen to be also master's level social workers, we were privileged to and invited to present at Siena State Conference of Social Workers held annually. And so what all three of us were excited about were we use this as an opportunity to share with that audience the non-traditional practice area that LOSFA is now availing to social workers that are in that discipline. Our topic was, again, LOSFA Reimagined, just kind of sharing that holistic support for educational attainment, but we used it to show how the work that we're doing with our students and student comprehensive advising aligns with NASW's core values. And so that section was a breakout session, was very well attended, and we're excited. I think the audience themselves were just really energized and excited to see the novel approaches to social work practice standards that we were applying. Many of them were like, well, I could turn in my resignation to my current job and come work for LOSFA, because they were excited about this area of, we've always had a space of school social work, but again, at this level of engagement is something that's different. Next slide. One of our larger audiences of activities, I'm talking about that large group setting, we, through leadership of one of our CEOs, John L. Taddock, coordinated, but it was a full team effort. We hosted a webinar that was geared towards helping Siena grow its pipeline of mental health professionals. As we heard through COVID, there was a shortage of nurses. There's a shortage of teachers. Well, we're seeing because of the heightened demand and the need of mental health services, we're trying to again grow that population of students who have expressed interest. So this webinar was held, and we decided to see that 72% of those that were registered actually attended, but also highlight the event was promoted and featured on the local station, WMP Channel 9, and that morning of. But we were also encouraged by the cross section of attendees. Not only did we have secondary school districts that are attended with their students, but we had post-secondary schools as well as professors that were in those areas of whether it be psychology or social work or counseling fields. And then we had, of course, undergraduate and graduate students that participated. For me, came full circle this event. On Monday night, I presented one of the college campuses, SGAs, and as I was closing, I invited questions. Student asked, as we were presenting and highlighting about the work of our student network groups. Question asked, well, are we having really considered a network group for psychology things? My reply was, well, Commissioner, where were you last month for our webinar? But it solidified and confirmed the further development And so that was the impetus for hosting this event to gauge the interest. And so I was very excited to have that question raised about the potential for that behavioral health student network, which we're hoping to launch in the fall, preparing to launch. Next slide. Again, here's our employer engagement coordinator, Tanya Evans, partnered with North Shore Technical College at its technology summit there. Again, this is an opportunity that she's using to connect with employers and to launch those partnerships that we're trying to engage in. Next slide. Our employee and customer engagement specialist, Jennifer Miller has been very busy as always. During the month of March, we held a safety training for all of LOSFA staff to participate. Consider what part of the quality safety class. We had a presenter from San State Police that came in to give information about active shooters and safety awareness, and it was very well received there. We also use this training to again remind and equip our staff about building safety issues. Next slide. With regards to our staff engagement, LOSFA during the month of March, again, our big spring, tying into our Easter season, we held a egg decorating contest. So you see members of SG, runner-up there, Ms. Brittany Terrio, Jessica Lee actually won. Both of them were SG, so congratulations to her, okay? And then we see the display of the baskets that were drawn. We had announced those last month to you. The outcome was phenomenal. We again commend all of our staff that participated. Again, over $1,000 were raised for us, so that goes. And Jenny, you have to tell us about fresh our memory. The winners for the basket travel.
Mr. Brett won the big one everybody was trying to get, which was the Pelicans and Saints. And that's very, very nice items in it. Let me see. I'm trying to remember. I'm so sorry, y'all. We had some gift cards that were run. One was run by the guard that works here in the building. Another one was won by another staff member. Wilford won one. And Mr. John, who is now currently our longest running employee, he won the Mike Anderson's gift card. So he's really excited. He's never been. And then for the baskets, let me see, the wine, Dr. Butte won.
I had to give it away because we don't drink.
And then we had the gumbo filet and friends, which had all kinds of things having to do with gumbo. That was won by one of our new employees, Mr. Brian Tanner. And then I'm trying to remember who won the LSU. Can't remember that. The southern basket was won by staff member DQ.
Sandy won the Louisiana basket.
The Louisiana basket, and then we had a Louisiana. Signature one LSU. Thank you, Mr. Yeah, signature one LSU basket, and then we had a Louisiana basket that had many items that had anything from how to make hurricanes to cooking to hand printed embroidered towel and all kinds of things. Louisiana railing, and that was won by another one of our employees.
But the overall winner of the division.
Oh, the overall winner who won the competition was scholarships and grants. They wanted a afternoon tea with Dr. Butte at her home, coffee and tea, where they got to actually spend some one-on-one time outside of the work environment with her. So that was the grand prize. And they got to spend an afternoon doing that. It was lovely. It was wonderful. Little pictures next month for y'all. And then for the raffle that we did, we raised $1,483 for the car raffle. So next year we're going to try to keep that. I was thrilled with the response. The staff was amazing and it was great. Thank you, ma'am.
Scholarships and grants were very busy, many, and again, they sold most number of raffle tickets, and so that's how they were able to get that special time since I would not be. That's all for student engagement this Monday. Thank you.
Still, good morning, everyone. Louisiana Gold Grant, the deadline was March 24th, and I have some updated numbers from what's on the screen. We will have slightly less than $2 million to reallocate. So there were 5 schools that spent their entire allocation by the March 24th deadline. And so we are getting information how much money they need, and we'll start that process. We're still working, for instance, if the school has a refund that comes in, they're able to use that for somebody else on their campus supposed to go to those funds. We normally have all that done by the end of the fiscal year, to the fiscal deadline for paying with program. Next program, John R. Justice. John R. Justice. For that particular program, we have dispersed all of the funds for the current grant. We applied for a new grant and was awarded $103,422. The application deadline is April 30th. So far we have, which is a great, I've told Chris she's doing a great job. We have 31 applications, which is probably the most we've had in a long, long time. 15 prosecutors have applied for 10 spots, and they'll get $5,000 each. The public defender side, we have 16 applications. And they will get 5 of them will be chosen, they'll get $10,000 each, and that will go to pay back their student loan indebtedness. So we're real pleased with the application pool we've received this year for the John R. Justice program. Next slide, MJ Foster, again, updated numbers from that. So as of April 15th, last week, there were 10,200 applications, so that's slightly up from that. Of those, renewal, that went up from 203 to 205, and then the 6,550 are eligible, with 1,777 that are ineligible. The withdrawn number stays the same, and then we have 1,663 that represent cancellations or award fulfilled. So that program is still going along, although we're waiting on funds for that. Go You Challenge, that has not changed because we only dispersed funds in the fall, which we had money to do. The National Guard is seeking additional funding to restart Go You Challenge for this upcoming fiscal year. Are there any questions? MJ Foster, I think we're about $1.5 million down. And that primarily the individuals that we cannot pay at this point in time due to funding, or individuals who were eligible but not previously enrolled. So the law tells us that if we have a funding shortfall, you have to award all of your continuing students first. So we are going down to the penny, awarding all the continuing students, but keeping up. We want to thank the institutions for billing us, even though we have a funding shortfall, because that is the only way you can quantify the policymakers how much money you still need. If somebody says, well, prove that you need that much money, we can do that. And I think it's currently about $1.5 million. Yes. Thank you.
Tops are showing a decrease of about $7 million compared to last year. A year ago, we were showing a $23 million decrease compared to the year before. So we expect top spending to stabilize starting next year, because for the first time in 3 years, the outgoing class will be about the same size as the class. The only schools that are showing an increase in top spending compared to last year are ULL, Louisiana Tech, Southern, and Grambling. And, most importantly, we do have enough money for top spending. And tops is always so boring when we have enough money. It's more interesting when we.
And we put the summer Availability is on the website, right?
On the website,
Yes.
and, took the date off of it because we, trying to modify it so that each year, students can just put in what year they want, but the money is available. We have notified the schools that funding is.
To Southern, the increase in Southern is not just a bill thing, it's an actual increase.
I suspect, I didn't do a deep dive in it because the amount isn't substantial, but the percentage, you're right, 27% increase is pretty substantial. I suspect that probably there was some late summer school billing that probably helps. That along, so.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. After you suspect what?
That there's probably some late summer school billing that hit this fiscal year instead of last, yeah.
Oh.
Which is not that uncommon.
Okay, and I will say, kind of difficult to hear on this side, sometimes if you're not,
Okay, gotcha.
so if you could just speak a little loud, I'm sure.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislative update, you all have one of these next to your computers. I think. I just want to run through this real quick. There are 10 bills. 8 of them are TOPS bills. 2 of them are J. Foster bills. Several of them are home study related. 68, 70, let's see, 450. No, 548, 549, and 550 are all home study. HB 68 did pass the House last week. That one eliminates the requirement that a home study student have a higher ACT to qualify for TOPS completely. So they would have to make the same score as the student who goes to a brick and mortar school and has to get the core in GPA. That one passed, but it's been recommitted to House appropriations. HB 70 is exactly the same as HB 68, and it is not doing anything. It's just kind of sitting there waiting to be heard by House Education. I don't know if it'll move anywhere or not. We will go back down to HB 548. That is one of Representative Amedee's bills. That passed last week. That bill provides that a home study student can either take the core, get the required GPA, and have the same ACT as students attending a brick and mortar school, or they have to have the higher ACT. That bill did pass last week, but it has also been recommitted to House appropriations. We saw this morning, House Appropriations is meeting next week, but they are moving the budget bills. So these bills have not yet been scheduled. HB 549 removes all academic requirements for home study students. It is also not moving. It has not been heard. It's pending House Education. HB 550 was actually being heard this morning. Shauna has been listening to it, and we've been advised it passed 7-6. What that bill does is remove home study approval requirements. So what that means is Bessie will no longer be required to approve a home study program. Representative Amedee also amended the bill to add the provisions of HB 548 into 550. So HB 550 now has the content of 548 and don't know what's going to happen. We have several, oh yes.
What maybe you can address is, what impact would this have on things that come to us that you all have to approve? The home study, all of this change,
Well,
if any, I don't know.
we process about 313 home study students in there is a fiscal impact, which is why both of these bills went to House appropriations. HB 548, which would allow those students to take the core and get the required GPA along with the lower ACT. That would require some changes to STS because it is a sophisticated algorithm that runs that score so that students are given the benefit of the highest courses that met the core requirements, right? So that they can get the highest award possible. We do not have that ability to write that algorithm or to process these manually. Even if it remains at 313, we do not have the staff who can run that many different iterations of a core for one student, much less 313. There's a huge fiscal note on that one, 7 figures, $5 to $7 million. And like I said, the content of that one has been amended into HB 550. HB 550 without that amendment had no fiscal impact. Or very small.
But it's important to remember that LOSFA does not run the student transcript system. So the student transcript system, LOSFA contracts with the Department of Education. We pay them for them to run the student transcript system, which is an algorithm. In the student transcript system, currently, if you're a private or parochial school, you enter your information, right? So the fiscal note has an alternative for, you could either, as the department is suggesting, overhaul the entire system, or you could do a workaround, which is allow the homeschool individuals to petition themselves as a school and enter their data like a private or parochial. Again, LOSFA contracts that out. We maintain steadfastly that it is not an alternative option to start sending raw transcripts to LOSFA to process, creating a different method for home study students than you do for everyone else. And we don't think you want to interject a human into something that you already have an electronic algorithm that's proven to do. Everybody should have that same benefit. So that's kind of where that is, but we've said basically all information LOSFA gets. LOSFA processes, we don't calculate. We don't currently calculate anybody's GPA. You get their GPA in the core from STS, that's verified, it's the same. You get ACT scores from ACT. You get the FAFSA eventually. We're getting those from the federal processor. So our role has been to make it clear. We're not sitting over here hand calculating students' TOPS eligibility, and we think that it needs to stay that way.
Now we'll go into the computer science bills. There are several of those as well. HB 264 has passed the House completely. It passed House Education, it passed the floor, and it is currently pending Senate Education. That bill provides that computer science is going to be a required core course, and it can be satisfied as a higher level math, science, or as a foreign language. HB 266 by Representative Amity has passed the House. It's waiting for assignment to Senate Education. It removes computer science as an alternative to foreign language and makes it a science. So you would have to take it as a higher level science. Rep Amity is very much about maintaining the state's heritage with respect to French particularly, but also all foreign languages. So this is why her rationale for doing this. And she specifically said that on the mic of the committee, that she's trying to maintain the French heritage. So and the fact that computer science is not a language. It's not something that two people use to relate ideas. It's your computer. So, let's see. There's something. Yeah, maybe that's it. Okay, then we have HB 452. That bill eliminates top step beginning in the 2030 academic year. So no student would be eligible at the graduating class of 26-27 because there would be no funding available in 29-30. It's pending the House floor. It was scheduled to be heard Monday, but they returned it to the county. Let's see if there's one more.
Tell me, is there still anything about why we're eliminating top step? What's it? Is there something he wants to correct? Is the money going someplace else?
There is no provision that says that the money is going anywhere else. They did talk about the fact that it's been underutilized in committee. And that's online if you're interested in going and listening to the House Education discussion on that.
And I can do that. I just remember a few committee meetings here, a big informational session to all of us on what you were doing to get top step more visibility, to be utilized more.
Yeah. And then the last one is Senate Bill 120 by Senator Mizell. This bill, what it proposed to do was to require post-secondary institutions to give funding to the Division of Administration for top students who are canceled. I think there was some misunderstanding there about how TOPS works. We don't give all the money up front. The schools are allowed to bill on the 15th class day for TOPS, so we send the money then. If the student is canceled, school never gets any money. So we did meet with Senator Mizell at her request. She understood that. So don't know if she's going to amend the bill at some point in the process, but right now it's pending Senate finance. And it has been since the beginning. There are two MJ Foster bills. HB 728 lowers the age of eligibility to 17 for MJ Foster, and it removes the limitation that would preclude students who have a violent crime conviction from being eligible. That bill has passed the House. It's pending Senate Education. SB 272 is Senator Edmonds. Senator Edmonds is the chair of Senate Ed. This increases the maximum amount that could be appropriated for MJ Foster from 10.5 million to 40 million. And initially it provided that only 25% of the funding could be used for proprietary schools. That was amended out in Senate Education Committee to where it's all up for grabs by anybody, like it has been for this academic year. And that bill also just moves the advisory council convening from Board of Regents to the Workers Commission. And that bill has passed the Senate, passed the Senate floor. It's now on the House pending referral to House Education.
So, you know, the split right now between proprietary and public, it's about 66% of the payments are going to proprietary schools. However, you can't just look at it like that. With the student choice, it's about 46.4% of students who choose to attend a proprietary school to about 54% of public. So when you leave it to student choice, it's almost half and half as to where students are choosing to go if the money follows them. The money follows the student in GO, the money follows the student in TOPS. So this would be not unlike those other two programs. As it is this year, those are the stats that we currently
vision that eventually, maybe you're already doing with the MJ foster program. The legislature or somebody will want to know how these students are doing.
Certainly, the
Like, MJ.
They asked that
I know we still have that problem with TOPS, trying to figure out where we get all this information that the legislators think they.
the Senate Finance, that question was point blank asked, how are they doing? And we envision, that is an excellent question.
And only said it's gonna have a report between. Maybe it's, yeah.
And there are requirements in the law that those things be reported. Last year, we didn't have everything in place, I don't believe, to be able to do that, so.
We don't get all of it.
And LOSFA does not get everything that we would need, but Board of Regents does, so.
We don't get-
What about you maybe have some way you can data in October? We'll see.
Yeah, and that's part of the challenge with providing it as they want it, because the income information comes from LWC. And I know when LOSFA was still in the loan business, I was responsible for doing administrative wage garnishments, and we would request information from LWC as to how much we were going. And that information was most of the time either 2 or 3 or 4 quarters behind, not months, quarters. So there's a challenge with trying to report it immediately or even within 6 months sometimes. So, hopefully we'll have a report with some updated information, but we're heavily dependent on others for that.
Spotlight this one. Gonna have the team members come up next for the spotlight with LOSFA 2.0. Again, we appreciate your attention with this. This is our way of recognizing the phenomenal work our team members are doing. And it's also a way of codifying that LOSFA 2.0 isn't in a thought process, that is actually occurring. Exciting things.
Hello, everyone. I am Kayla Grow. I am our Program and Resource Coordinator.
I'm Brian Cook. I'm a public relations specialist.
And it looks like our editing got a little thrown off, but today we're going to talk to you about the FLY Tour. It's the Financial Literacy for You Tour. And to talk about where we're going, let's talk a little bit about where we've been. So the FLY Tour began as a theatrical presentation on college campuses, promoting financial literacy through poetry, music, and drama. So we had some skits that we would do. We had superhero themes in the past, a means to really get students engaged with the college going process and the financial component that comes with the college going process. So Gear Up previously provided the opportunity to bring students. We actually bus the students into the post-secondary institutions across Louisiana for campus tours, interactive presentations, student support services, and instant admissions opportunities to universities and colleges. Really got into it, having the bands come, having all types of things for the students to really picture themselves on campus. And so with that, next slide. Well, we had to evolve. We hit the pandemic, right? We couldn't be on college campuses in person anymore. So we had to adapt with the rest of the world. So during the pandemic, the show was adapted to the Meet Your Match game show virtual edition, ensuring continued outreach. So we started to bring the schools to the students on that virtual platform. And our faces have changed. So our My LOSFA College Advocates, which we'll talk a little bit about coming up, provided the face of the event to really engage the students. And we invited those colleges and universities onto the show to with their admission reps to discuss their institution in an interactive way. So as the Fly Tour evolves, as we move forward, we want to not just have the interactive meet your match piece, but to also incorporate the more into the financial literacy portion of that. We will discuss the financial literacy program in a moment as well. So incorporating that financial literacy program as the educational component and the meet your match game show as the interactive programming, with the My LOSFA College Advocates providing the personalized engagement for social media and events. So Brian will talk a little bit about our audience.
So for our audience, it really starts as young as the middle school students. When speaking of advocates, we do have a middle school advocate whose focus is on these middle school students. It goes all the way up to the adult non-traditional students, and also the first year post-secondary students.
So initially we started out with just our high school students, but the demand was there for our middle school students, and then moving into those first year students, and then even having under the financial literacy program, a big demand for adult and non-traditional students and student entrepreneurs, such as our Girl Scout partnership that we'll talk a little bit later. So go back to me. It's okay. So to evolve and expand LOSFA Financial Literacy for You Tour into a comprehensive program is our goal that fosters financial literacy, promotes college access, and supports holistic student development with a focus on 1, enhancing financial literacy, 2, promoting college access, 3, supporting student development, and doing that on a holistic level because financial wellness is part of overall wellness for students, and ensuring program sustainability. So as things change, as budgets change, as our day-to-day culture changes, how are we sustaining the program and growing with that? So the first piece of that is our financial literacy program. This program came about as from a request from one of our university partners that they wanted something that was customizable for their students to go through financial literacy, but to also connect them back to the resources on campus. Through this program, it has transformed into incorporating financial aid trainings for some of our college success courses and address financial literacy skills for special populations. So the core goals for the financial literacy program is to build knowledge across economic, academic, cultural, and social domains, empower students to link financial management with degree completion, foster a financially literate community from 6th grade through post-secondary education. It's never too early to get students started with financial literacy, and then to promote holistic student development. So you might see some old faces on there. Brandy and Brittany Williams and myself were the pilot team for the financial literacy program. So it's come a ways, really excited about that.
So like you said, the first half was the financial literacy program, but the second half is the Meet Your Match game show. And these 3 pictures here are from our recent in-person show we did about 3 weeks ago in March in New Orleans, where we had a total of 700 registered students to show up from 10 different schools in the New Orleans area. But with that included, only about 300 to 400 students showed, and we did an hour-long in-person show for the students.
Only 300 to 400.
Yeah. It was very loud.
And with that event as well, it was geared toward HBUs, which was really cool to see, to have a minority focus for that programming. So also showing the equity of access in our schools. And with the evolution of the Meet Your Match game show, so going from busing students to then having to go into the community and meet students where they are. And what's really cool about this event in particular was that David Page, who invited us to come to it, he actually was part of one of the universities that had the Meet Your Match game show on campus and was like, we want to bring this in for our convention. So that was really cool that the work that we've done is continuing to show up.
He said that he worked at Dillard at the time, and remember our show from 2019, and was like, called us up about it, and was like, well, yeah, we could create something that you need. And
yeah, so speaking to that customization of the show, in whatever capacity, the community needs us. And here's a little clip from our Girl Scouts event.
all right, all the answers have been submitted.
All right, the answer is. So as you can see, the kids love it. And for these students, none of them, it was from 5th grade up to seniors. However, the majority were our middle school students. So to see middle school students so and with great questions, they were on it. So to see them so engaged really speaks to what we're doing and promoting that college going culture.
And this year, we just finished up our virtual Meet Your Match game show, where we had over 11 different schools and over 1,300 registered students to attend. 4 days, one day we were out because of weather, and the other day we chose to, because since we were out the previous day, a lot of schools didn't show up because of that mistake they had to make up. But with that, I did look at the data. We had over 38 different high schools / middle schools registered within those 1,347 people to show up and attend the show on Zoom. Also, we streamed it live stream on YouTube, where we had a total of 102 people view over the 4 days live.
And additionally on the slide, you'll see we have 2 screenshots from our social media page. MLCA, the My LOSFA College Advocate, is essentially the face of this programming. So we are expanding our social media content as well to be more engaging and to provide those similar updates that are within the show. Another key thing that I wanted to point out, similar to Mr. Page from David Page, was that Malik Smith, who used to be with Southern, he had been on the virtual fly tour for a number of times. And then he posted a little snippet in the chat about how he was honored to be a part of this year over year. So he has gone from Southern now to RPCC and still involved with the virtual Meet Your Match game show.
Yes, and we reach out to every college in the state, and some respond, some don't, and some are very eager to get on, like as Mr. Malik Smith, and some they're still hesitant, but we're still trying to grow to reach every college.
And it's providing a great opportunity. Over conferences that I've done over the year, I've spoken to a number of high school counselors, and there are many high school counselors that they are either in rural areas or maybe they're not in a priority district for admissions officers. So, because there's only so many admissions officers. So they feel, their students tend to feel unseen. And that's what we want to stop, is that our students all feel seen and feel like they can see themselves on a college campus. So providing a virtual platform for this provides the opportunity to get those admissions officers to the students, allow those students to feel seen and feel worthy of going to college.
I don't know, last year, I forgot what school it was, but they offered scholarships on the fly tour to the students in person. All they had to do was like email to say, hey, I was on the fly tour this day, I graduate XYZ, is this scholarship still available? And he offered scholarships to students.
And application waivers as well, free college application waivers. And you'll see a little promo video of our virtual Beat Your Match.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Viator Network.
Three, two, one.
And like you said, we are essentially putting the show on. We are the My LOSFA College advocates. But I'm the junior advocate, and my main focus is the juniors. With the juniors, is majority making sure that they are preparing and taking their ACT and their SAT.
So each of the advocates, like Brian said, has a specific area that they're focused on for their students. So like I'll do a lot of FAFSA work because senior year, I'm the senior advocate. I've been with the My LOSFA advocate since its inception during COVID, where we needed something to have that outreach. So now as we move forward, revamping it and getting more engagement. So the faces have changed, but the mission has not.
5 different advocates. We have a middle school advocate, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior advocate.
Okay, so the biggest piece of the Flyscore is that it is customizable. So essentially, shows may look similar, but never the same. So it is always based off the LOSFA 5-point match framework. That is our baseline for all things that we do. In the past, we've customized the Flytour, so under the financial literacy program. So Flytour being our big banner, the financial literacy program, we provided the training for college success instructors on general financial aid, essentially to teach them how to help their students. So we'll help you help them. Customize the financial literacy programming with the resources. So again, bringing them back to their campuses or bringing them back to the community. So that way you can come to us and we can direct you to where you need to go on your campus so that you have banks on your college campus, you have a food bank, you have career counselors. So how do we get you connected to all those things that will help you as you move forward? And presentations for residency students. So that was an example of the customized programming. I did a presentation with LSU Health Science Center specifically for budgeting as you move into your residency and plan for future endeavors. With BRCC, we did a presentation for their summer bridge students as they prepare for their first year of college, and also assisting with the summer melt prevention. So making sure students are actually getting into the seats in the fall. Then presentation for junior high preview day. So we've been invited to Nunez to do some interactive presentations, ask questions about budgeting and different aspects of financial literacy.
Yeah, and like we said, the customized game show for different age groups and different years in school with the college fair. It was majority sophomores through seniors. So we did a Jeopardy type style game for them with the smart cookie youth. Like you said, there's a lot of middle school age students. But although they were middle school age, they knew a lot of the answers. And it was very exciting to see that students that young, so engaged, and still knowing you still can compete with the seniors. Yeah. And this is, like we said, the Jeopardy style. It's not Jeopardy.
Well, this one is Family
Family
Feud.
Feud style that we did for the virtual Meet Your Match show. So we kind of switch it up a lot. And this was one of our first time going with the Family Feud way. And it was really nice and really engaging for students to be able to switch it up just as we switch it up. So,
so some of our students have been to the Meet Your Match game shows in the past, virtually or in person. So like I said, we want to make sure that we are continuing to change the content, change the information, change the format of the game so that it doesn't get boring and that they are continually having a good time. And if you could hear the audio, which we have videos of it, but if the audio on it went during these questions, all the students, even though they're in their classroom, they're over Zoom, which we all know doing a Zoom session, it's very hard to get people to be excited, to get people to be interactive, and they are going crazy in their classroom answering questions. And at the end of this particular show, we had so many questions about TOPS, financial aid, we had NOCA that was there, and they were very engaged in wanting to learn more about how to finance their future. So as we revamp for the future, one of the things that we're gonna do is that we're actually in the process of right now is we're working with SurveyMonkey Apply as a registration portal. It'll be a space where, one, it'll be easier for counselors to register. Two, it'll be easier for us to collect all of the registrations in one place, and to get feedback from those events. It'll also automate how we send out resources to make sure that all of our programs and our events get the right number of resources, and make it a little bit easier on our representatives as they go out into the field. Our counselors will be able to come back to this if they like, oh, I lost this paper that, you know, they brought to us. They'll be able to access that immediately throughout the year. And then also see for themselves a record of when they did certain events throughout the year, and they can reapply for those events year over year. We are working on revamping the financial literacy program by developing financial literacy modules for students. So that we'll be able to, as we move forward, have those different specialization areas for entrepreneurship, for justice impact students, for adult non-traditional learners, but then also our traditional students as well. Especially with the change of requiring financial literacy for high school, we can utilize this as a supplemental piece for that as well. And again, moving into those flexible formats for virtual community events, post-secondary institutions, we've done preview days with McNeese, and now moving into the high school campus space as we go forward to be more present in all of these different arenas. And collaboration. So we cannot do this alone. So we rely on our entire office to get all of the pieces to fit together properly and have successful events each year. So these are not all of our partners that we've had in the community, but these are some notable ones to mention for today. So first, the Louisiana Bankers Association, as we said, we've had meetings with them. They have provided numerous resources to us to help us as we develop the financial literacy program modules, which we anticipate to have launch in August of this year, for at least our primary focus, and then we'll add in those specialization pieces. Again, the Louisiana Department of Corrections, we've had those meetings with them, and they've provided resources and guidance as what is the best items that their students and families need for justice impacted reentry students. IT has assisted us tremendously, especially when it comes to the SurveyMonkey Apply implementation and developing the platform for the modules. They created that. And then they are always providing assistance to us during those virtual fly tour shows for anything that we need, that we come across, whether that's working with YouTube or videos, whatever we need them, they are there to help us. And then legal, they provide counsel and processing of MOUs for our outside partners, such as the AC, and we are currently partnered with them for a junior match day pilot. So to again, expand that college going culture even earlier than just your senior year of finding your best match candidate.
Said we are the cast division ourselves, so we do a lot of hands-on work with making sure that the students are there and making sure that we could conversate with them. And our student engagement division, while we're doing the shows and live in person, they are also working the table, and they have flyers and more handouts and things and more information for the students to get, sometimes before or after the in-person shows.
And then with LCTCS, we have worked with them year over year for Community College Week. We cross-promote their Community College Week programming, and they promote us as well at our events, along with our resources. So that has been a really great partnership for both Fly Tour and LCAM and CCAM. All right, and as we continue on, we will continue to evolve, like I said, the same way our society, our culture, our budgets evolve. So continuing with the creation of our module-based financial literacy program, that we will be able to get to students where they are, so if they can learn, and whether that's us being in the classroom with them or us being on their phone or on their laptops, we will be with them every step of the way, incorporating into community events, our high school events, such as when they have the big college fairs all together. That's been a trend we've seen lately, is the multiple high schools coming together for college fairs. Our preview days, so going to the colleges and universities when invited to put on as a programming aspect of the preview days for the Meet Your Match game show to help them prepare for life at that institution. And then Junior Match Day is piloting this year, where we will help high school juniors create their match and fit list for potential colleges that they'll apply to during their senior year. Continuing with our virtual efforts and expanding that to get to schools that previously have not been involved. And of course, expanding that social media content. I always say it takes 10 times for us to tell a student something before they hear it one time. So if we can add to those number of times that we're telling them in an engaging way, such as with social media, that's what we're gonna do. So, and that is the fly tour.
I still have my purple t-shirt, fly tour that I attended out of LSU many years ago.
Yes, love that. Yeah, the surprisingly, the highlighters have been one of the biggest giveaways that the students love. We have a 5-point highlighter that they absolutely love.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a reminder, we do not have a June meeting, so our next meeting date is gonna be Wednesday, June 19th. I think that's a week, and I don't have a meeting, but I
Maybe.
have a
So we
meeting.
don't have a June meeting yet. We
Don't have a meeting. Sorry.
don't.
No, I have a June meeting because if legislative session should be over with, so. Anyway, so. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, motion to adjourn.
Your turn.
Second.
There you go.
We got a first, a second.
There you go.
All in favor, say aye. Y'all have food back there, it's chicken pasta, salad, a vegetable, a roll, and a dessert. You can use.
I always want to make sure that shows they could buy.
Yeah.